futility of adtech. So, I'm Dutch. So I was born to bike. This morning, it was very funny to see London in total disarray as I biked in a very, for me, empty street to this venue. People thought differently about it. I think differently about things many times, so maybe that's a little bit of this presentation as well. So, first of all, I was asked to do a presentation. Then, I was preparing for you because I know everybody loves those super dense slides with all of this information, hundreds of them about our previous financial record, explaining you how Azerion is trying to help advertisers to reach the right consumers in the right place at the right time, which is basically everybody's promise as well. And then I read this. Anyone here sort of read this a little bit? Anyone thought this was disturbing? They basically said, Dentsu said, outside of Japan, this whole advertising thing, I don't think it works, at least as a business, an advertising agency. This is quite the statement. Think about their current clients. Or think about pitching if you're now Dentsu UK or Dentsu France and you're pitching for an account. What is going to happen? Or if you're an investor, trying to think about whether this is an interesting company to acquire. This is a massive statement. They're basically saying goodbye to billions of dollars of revenue because, as they say, the industry is hit by AI. And I think, for me, that made it like, okay, maybe as this Dutch, different thinker, dystopian, Black Mirror fan, maybe we should get into a different little vibe here. Pink Floyd wrote this text in '73. Anyone here from before '73? Raise your hand. I am. 1, please help me. 2, 3 or 4. Okay. These guys were amazing. The text actually very interesting. There is always time to kill, and you can always, enjoy the time, but one day you find 10 years have got behind you. Yeah, I'm here to tell you today, there's a need to move. This is the starting gun, or maybe it was already along there. You need to start running, and I'll talk to you a little bit about it. So, let me bring it back to our industry. Let's suppose I'm Nike and I come to you, your media or ad agency or your sales network, your tech company, and I want to reach a male audience in the UK. Sell them running shoes. I want my ad to be in a sports environment, in a newspaper. But I want you to verify that the audience is truly human, that the context is actually sports, and that it really happens in the UK. So, I give you this briefing, and what are we thinking about as an industry? Maybe is anyone here in the operations, sales, account management of selling in digital? No one? What do you mean? What's happening here? The other conferences in the other hall. Huh? This is the maritime thing. No, but who's here in the business of selling or doing the adtech? Yes, please. Yes, exactly. Thank you. So, verification technologies. This whole Lumascape that we need to put together to get this thing running. You need to have DMP, SSP, we were talking about the technologies before. You have verification technologies. All of this is happening. A lot of people will be thinking about how am I going to get this campaign running with all of the technologies that we need. And maybe if you're in the advertising space, agencies or advertisers here, probably worried about how much of this money is actually going to the publisher. What's the transparency? How do we optimize the supply chain? All of that stuff. And before I go to my view on it, let me tell you about a little experiment that was done in the 80s. I don't know if you know about it. They had this research environment, a few monkeys in there, like 10 or so, and then they introduced a banana. But if one of the monkeys started to try and grab the banana, they were hosed with a fire hose of ice-cold water, all of them. You can imagine, Pavlov, after a while, the monkeys were like, okay, we get it. Let's not touch the banana. So that works, and then they change one of the monkeys. So one that learned goes out, new one is introduced. Obviously, monkeys like bananas, so the new one jumps to the banana, but then the other monkeys are trying to hold it back or hit it, doing anything they can to stop him from taking the banana, because everybody knows we're going to be hit by this ice-cold water. So after a while, the new monkey gets the memo, and like, okay, I won't touch it. And they start swapping these monkeys one by one until there is no monkey left that was ever hit by cold water. But when introduced with a banana, none of them touches it anymore. Fascinating experiment. So for this particular presentation, I was like, okay, let's ask Google AI a little bit when this happened and exactly how it was run. And then AI says, this experiment never happened. Total hoax. So, okay. But yeah, it's a fun story, right? So I'm like... and in 2025, to put a little bit of fake news in a PowerPoint presentation, happens all the time. So, doesn't matter. I think what we all did in these 30 last years is a little bit like this. Because if I want to go back to that briefing, I'm Nike, and I want to put this ad on a sports page, what I can do is this. This is a 2-line email, basically asking The Guardian or whatever, please put my ad on your sports page. Best Nike. Attach the ad. 10K goes to the publisher. What went wrong here? You can do this, eh? This is not a... You were thinking about all of this technology, supply chain optimization. You can just send this ad to The Guardian. What is everybody doing? It's crazy. There's a lot that we need to... and we're doing it, and it's okay. People are, accepting it. I think it's about 2 crucial things that went wrong or that are still in our system that we still need to fix, that are becoming increasingly urgent. One, broadcasting. I love this story because I did it already in 2002, I think. Gray hair, so yes, I was there. Just imagine you want to reach a male audience in the UK. Now, that's 30 million. I sort of checked it. So how much would it cost to reach them? Now, if you do a quick calculation in UK terms, I'm not sure if the CPMs are exactly correct, but just make it £5. Decent, modest CPM, I would guess, especially if you think Reach Media or something, you know. That means 150K, because you need to do 30,000 times 1,000, right? So a lot of money gets spent on this campaign, 150K. What happens if you want to do this on TV? Now, TV works a little bit different with GRPs. A GRP is reaching 1% of your audience once. So if you want to reach 100% of your audience once, it's 100 GRPs. And a bit of an average GRP price to reach this audience on TV is 300 euros or pounds. So doing the exact same thing on TV is 5 times cheaper. Why is this happening? Well, this broadcast antenna that you see is the reason. Let's suppose us in this room, we want to start a radio station. What would we need to do? We put up an antenna. We have some tech guys arranging for us to be able to speak and to record and to broadcast. Out goes the transmission, right? Now, in the beginning, probably we wouldn't be very popular, but let's assume the audience grows and grows and grows. Millions of users or listeners. Something magic happens, or actually doesn't happen. What doesn't happen is the cost is not going up. It doesn't matter if 20 million people are listening to our radio station. There's 0 extra cost. We built in all of this variable cost in digital. All the SSPs, DSPs, ad servers, they're all charged by every single time you push an ad, pay. A percentage also of the budget. Super expensive. Broadcasting was made to basically reduce or negate almost variable cost. So yes, if you start reaching big audience in digital environments, it's basically always going to be more expensive than broadcasting. I mean, okay, quite a thing. Trying to, for 3 decades to do this well. then you get this. It's still more expensive. And I think if you look at this, whether this is 95 or 2025, you couldn't say. I think if you look at how many people were working in, 1993 Group M office in the Netherlands, yes, that was me, probably the same amount of people. Only now, to run this whole digital thing, they're all PhDs in math or science or something, so super expensive at that, and they're still all there. Massive amounts of people are running these campaigns. So, yeah, right. So we're in trouble. Okay, this might be a bit overstating it, but yeah, our whole industry is in trouble. We are young, life seems long, we're killing time, the Pink Floyd song, but now we find not 10, but 30 years is behind us and nothing changed. While at the same time, I think there are a lot of signals already from the market that something should change. If you think about the ANA, especially also in the US, always on the, in the market to tell people, listen, I don't get it. I need more transparency. I need more dollars to go to the publisher. They're always around saying it. And at the same time, you also see giants like MediaMath a few years back going belly up, or companies like Dentsu saying, okay, I don't do it anymore. This is already our industry. So looking back 30 years, something is wrong. And then, to the point this morning as well, AI. Now, of course, there was, I think it was Arthur C. Clarke. Yep. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So, true. But I think if you look at the consequences that this AI is going to put on top of this, let's say, dysfunctional industry that we're in, now really things are going to be critically different. So think about the people part. We will see an explosion of agents and AI services that help the operations. So briefings and strategy, they will be exchanged, suggested, enhanced by AI. Adtech platforms that require basically like Excel-like sheets with line items in DSPs, etc., they will be managed by AI. Creatives will be co-generated and tested by AI. Confirmation, logistics, invoicing, automation, a lot of it will be done through AI. So where we were talking about all of these people involved in this space, it will be less and less, and it will be more and more AI. And so if you're in this space, of course, as an individual contributor, as an expert, yeah, you need to rethink how you're going to fit in this new future. And whether it's the preparation or the ongoing optimization of all this creative stuff, AI will also shorten the time needed and increase the frequency of optimization. So on the one hand, the costs go down of operating it, which is good. The automation will not just make it seamless, but it will also compress time. If you have a big campaign running and you are now asking your agency to evaluate once a month and optimize once a week, the AI will say, well, once a week, I have nothing else to do, so let's do it every 5 seconds. And that, of course, will then increase the, let's say, the output of the campaign, and then you can start comparing it to broadcasting and pricing better. So we have to get into this next level. The technology needs to be better, it needs to be more seamless, it needs to target the exact right people in the exact right time, and it has to do so with far less people. Only then will we be able to cover, let's say, the laziness of the last 30 years and step into the next 10 years. And we can't wait anymore because this AI is going to do it. That's why we built at Azerion, we said, okay, we're not going to use AI, we're going to build a whole AI platform because we think the entire company is going to go inside out and has to embrace this at a sort of foundational level. It's not just for your company to reconsider. It's for every single individual. AI is used like, for most people, like a new Google search or something, right? You need to, but it will be much more. Where can we add value as people? That's an important question. I'm not sure if that's going to be covered today, but you need to think about what does it mean to have teamwork, experience, logic, creativity. If you want to put those things to bear into your new job, your new company, your new USP towards your clients, what does it mean? Most of us are now used to working at home. This whole teamwork thing is sort of seems like something from the past. But yeah, I mean, the agents can also work from home, the AI agents, so maybe it's better to be together and to think about great new things that you can do for a client and then make it a project and a success. And just believing that this whole AI thing is going to be important is not enough. If you are not currently developing, programming, testing, changing the company that you're in or the job that you're in towards a more AI focus, then someone else is. And they will be faster than you in the end. Dystopian, I said it. Then, the worst. Okay, sorry. I was already in this whole negative spiral. And now it gets worse. No, it's not worse, but it's super important to reconsider advertising in general. I think it was a little bit already in the lower funnel, the conversation that we had previously. I think it's super important to not think about AI from an advertiser point of view, but from a consumer point of view. I believe in the next few years, consumers will start using agents more and more as a personal, let's say, assistant to do boring stuff. Okay, this might not be revolutionary, but think it through. I have an agent, and I have some basic tasks. I think they call it, let's say, in the privacy of your house. Nobody cares about what you're buying, so if it's laundry detergent or your energy bill, maybe it's your TV subscription, or actually you're booking online a hotel room or a flight, all these things nobody else will see, nobody will care about. Groceries. If you want to procure these things in the future and you have a fantastic personal assistant, what's going to happen? Many people already have these groceries delivered at home, and this platform will probably give already suggestions like, hey, last week you bought 10 Coca-Cola, do you want to buy them again? Super rudimentary, but it's already there. Imagine this agent get tasks to just outsource this to the agent. Dear agent, here's my configuration. This kind of laundry detergent I'm looking for every 2 weeks. Please buy it. This kind of airplane ticket I'm looking for. Arrange it for me. Shopping is fun. Well, I'm not sure if I agree all of the time. Men, women are also different, I guess. But at the same time, not all shopping is fun. So what will happen is that consumers will delegate the buying of those simple commodities, the non-strategic or cool stuff, to the agent. Okay, that might still be for you to declare, okay. What is the biggest problem? Agents are not looking at ads. This AI agent will be negotiating with the supply to get the cheapest product possible for the task that it was sent for. It is not going to click on a YouTube ad to then convert into something buying laundry detergent. Of course not. All of the performance marketing on the lower funnel will be eradicated in 5 years. It will be gone. Billions of dollars currently in performance marketing, gone. Nothing like a great prediction, right? On the other hand, 2 magic things are happening, also covered a little bit before. Branding. If I have an agent, and I say to this agent, I'm looking for a new car, then I've been trained in my past by advertising to think, yeah, I only want to buy BMW or Mercedes or whatever brand. So given that training that I got from the marketing department, I'm going to tell my agent to whitelist certain brands, just like you do in a DSP with whitelisting certain supply. You're going to whitelist certain favorite brands. And why would I whitelist them? Because before I was constantly exposed to branding advertising. So the super brands, on the other hand, will be increasingly trying to be in favor and make sure that you remember them and that you associate them with your lifestyle and your preferences, because they want you to put them on this whitelist in the future, because also there the agent is going to help them. So branding, and then we talk about digital out of home, we talked about digital audio, but also I think increasingly events are going to be used as an advertising destination. All these things where brands can still associate themselves with the consumer are going to be massive. Branding is going to be big. And third, last, if all of this is going to be automated and smoothened out, then if I'm the dentist on the corner or the flower shop, previously I logged into Facebook and did a €100 campaign for this half year or something, trying to get a little bit of people to my shop. But with all of this seamless technology, even the dentist on the corner can say, hey, I want an omni-channel campaign. I want to be on TV, digital out of home, radio. Everybody in the neighborhood of my dentist shop should see my ad. And for €100, the AI will create the ads, it will spread out the campaign across the neighborhood, and it will be fantastic. So a massive surge in SME potential for branding campaigns at the same time. So all of this is changing, and yeah, it means run. This is your starting gun, and time is running out. So that brings me to the end of my speech. I hope these last 15 minutes inspired a little bit to move. I think I will not be the only one today talking about AI, but maybe a little bit of inspiration in the direction is here. And remember, nothing is easy, not even the videos. Everything you saw in this presentation was created by our own platform and VO3 model. But if you brief it wrong, yeah, then not everything goes right. So I spent a lot of euros in our own platform then to finally get the AI to have the right movie. But yeah, some funny stuff happened. So thank you very much and enjoy the day.
Well, thank you, Sebastian.
Welcome.
I have many questions.
Yes.
Firstly, I did enjoy the videos, especially the one in the office, and there's just a woman holding a phone that had a line going to nowhere. So yeah. AI still has some work to do. I think the thing I want to draw on the most is you believe that lower funnel, bottom of funnel performance advertising will be eradicated within 5 years.
Yeah.
What then happens then? Where it's that all that money, the billions you mentioned, you believe that will all go into branding or super branding?
Well, I mean, if you're, let's say, the victim of that lower funnel, you're in there, in that space, selling laundry detergent without a real use. So you're not going to counter that by somehow super branding or something. What is, I think, super important there, and this is probably also part of the retail future, is that the supply needs to start setting itself up for AI buyers instead of human buyers. And so what now is called search engine optimization will probably be called AI engine optimization. This is going to be a horrible acronym, but yeah.
So do you think then that advertising budget, rather than being spent to go to consumers and target actual eyes, people will be using advertising budget to target robots?
On that level, yes.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. Also, it's like maybe it's never going to be called advertising anymore, of course. But there's going to be a massive budget to make sure that your whole supply and product base is known to the buyers. And these are, make no mistake. I think if people think, yeah, this is maybe a little bit too far out in science fiction, because how do I get my agent on my computer doing all of this stuff? I think what's going to happen is more like a DSP or a Booking.com. So there will be a big platform, and people host their individual personal assistant on those platforms. And that means that this new, let's say, Booking.com for agents, it will have a massive buying power downstream in towards this supply. And there will be an incredible amount of new protocols and connections between those two, like a DSP is integrating to an SSP now to make sure that this procurement is done in a new and smart way.
Before we go on, I want a show of hands, like how many people in the audience actually think that what Sebastian's saying actually has some ring of truth to it? Or do you all think that he's lost his mind a bit? Interesting. Is that more or less than what you would have thought?
Yeah, I think science fiction is never wrong. You're just too. It might be too early to look.
It's just when.
Yeah. So it's easy also to do it. That's why the timing is always super important. And I think if you look at all the graphs of AI, people are just not capable of understanding exponential changes. We always think, if I extrapolate what's happening now, it will take 10, 20 years before this happens. But you just need to sort of, give over to the exponential curve. And I think within a few years, this will be really radically different. Yeah,
I think from a consumer perspective, I think you're right. I think you're already seeing it. There's a Google Pixel ad, I'm not sure if people have seen it, where it says, if somebody asks you a question and the answer's on your phone, shouldn't your phone just answer? And it's somebody texting, hey, what's the address for tonight? And then the phone replies with the address. So the person hasn't got to get involved with that transaction. So you're already seeing that.
Yeah.
Wave happening, and that will, I guess, exponentially get faster and faster before we're doing all this as a standard before we even realise it. Going back to the advertising perspective and the programmatic perspective, obviously you mentioned that actually over the past 30 years we've almost become wildly inefficient when it comes to how we run advertising, and we are using possibly channels in the wrong way. In how we expect to target, things are costing much more than they maybe should do. And I think a lot of kind of traditional out-of-home buyers, traditional audio buyers would agree with you that actually, if you want to target mass reach with out-of-home, do a direct buy. Don't try it programmatically, it's pointless and it'll cost you 10 times more and you won't have a tenth of the reach of what you need. What do you think that the promise of programmatic has been lost along the way?
No, not at all. But I think the word targeting is often used, but rarely understood. As a value component in that whole deal. So, if and we always use an example where we say, okay, we want taxi service on digital out of home, just close to the metro stations, and only when traffic in the tube is congested or people are on strike, and the weather is also bad. If you take all of these data points together and you filter all of the other potential, and you only show the ad at that point to the right person, it will be more valuable and it will be worth, let's say, the tech overhead, because you're really doing something valuable with the technology. The problem is that, I mean, from the beginning on, all the internet advertising, not even programmatic, had this targeting promise in it, but at some point everybody wants to grow. And so you're sort of outgrowing the targeting promise. If you really start to target males, that's no longer targeting, right? So then you need to rethink it. But there is possibilities. If you're BMW, you do a countrywide campaign, you don't have to have the same ad everywhere. You can be very specific surrounding certain dealerships or areas in the country. You can make the ad more tailored, and that's where AI can also come in, of course. So I think nothing is lost, but you need to target ads and be specific with every single buy that you do. Otherwise, it's not worth the variable cost of delivering the ad. Yeah.
And so do you think that AI will drive massive economies of scale and actually bring the costs down of programmatic buying, especially on certain channels where it's more complicated? Do you think that will become cheaper and easier?
Yeah. It has to. I think the way that it can already, of course, take an existing ad and make like hundreds of small changes to it, and then test what works where well. That's one obvious point where the ad agency in the past, with all the people involved, could of course never keep up with that, churning out ads at that particular pace. It's just non-viable, not economical. But now, you can have 100,000 ads. The only problem is going to be who's going to analyze the results. Probably it has to be the AI as well, because it's going too fast, too many.
Yeah, that was the point I was going to make as well. You mentioned, of course, that where we might produce a report monthly or report weekly, the AI can do, well, I've got time, I may as well just do it now, and I'll do it again in 5 seconds' time, and then, well, as you say, no one's around to actually analyse it, so they'll do that job as well. What do you see? I mean, I'm interested in kind of, obviously, you built this platform at Azerion, and you are investing big on AI, and you're questioning what the future of AI looks like. Are you ready for this at Azerion? How are you preparing yourselves, kind of what structurally, I suppose, as to kind of what plans are going in place to kind of say, well, actually, data science, don't need that anymore. That can be done by agentic AI. Like, what are all the kind of things that you're questioning and getting yourselves ready for if you really believe that bottom of funnel programmatic is gone in 5 years and AI will actually be doing most of our jobs for us?
Yeah. So first, I think most of the people here that are active in this space will recognize that the last 15 years have already been stuffed with machine support, right? So when we talk machine learning or algorithms, they've been there for years, and they have to be, because a company like ours does 500,000 of these DSP or SSP auctions every second of the day, all day long. So these are already, we cannot cope with that anymore, and on an Excel optimization basis, of course. So the machine is already helping. The generative AI is adding a new angle to the same space. So if you imagine you are a DSP, now, if you don't know, basically the DSP is where you put in the Excel of the assertion or a schedule. I got like 50 websites I want to put my ad on, and so you've got 50 lines with a budget and expectations, etc. Now, this has to be put in by people. And so you can imagine with AI, you can have the briefing translate into that schedule, into the DSP. So that's part of the stuff that we're already doing. Mm-hmm. But what you see when you start letting the AI go a little bit, the AI says, yeah, but 50 lines, I want to create 50,000 lines. And oh, these 25,000 lines don't work, it says 10 seconds later. I'm going to make 25,000 new ones for this campaign. The problem is a lot of the APIs and the DSPs, etc. They're not used. They're not really ready for these kind of massive amounts of line item changes. They're used to people typing this in and having some kind of a weekly change or daily observation. But now suddenly these systems are hammering the AI is hammering these DSPs and SSPs to create and remove and change line items. So there, I think that's where a lot of the change is coming. Also on the creative level. Normally you attach a creative to a line item. Yeah. And now, if I want to test 5,000 creatives, you need to expand that into 5,000 lines and have them alter. So it's going to be. That's where we're currently also changing our whole DSP and SSP structures to be able to cope with that volume. Not try to create dashboards around it or visualize it in a humanly readable way. You just need to have the machine take care of it and also create the space for it to roam free. And
the person there surely to say, "Whoa, stop! Don't create 25,000 more lines. Let's go back a bit." Surely that aspect is still relevant.
That's almost, you get into the ethics and philosophy of AI. Where is the red button that says stop? Because you don't, at some point you don't know why it's doing things anymore, and then
and it doesn't know why either.
Sometimes not. Yeah. If you look at the movies that we try to create, for sure. So there's also absolutely no claim from me to say, forget about all the people, go all in on AI, because it's absolutely not ready and not mature. It's really only a mathematical model right now. If you know a lot about math, vectors, and matrices, then basically you're there. Don't expect any magic, even though it looks like it. But it will, the next few years, it will increasingly get better and also surprising. A lot of the researchers on AI, they find things now in the big LLM models that they can't really explain why it works so well. If you're a programmer and you ask it roughly, this is what I want to achieve, it comes back with 100% perfect code that you can compile and run in these systems, which is almost scary. So we need to still understand why this is happening and how that accelerates the curve. But that it's going to happen is for sure.
And you've been in the industry for 30 years. Does this terrify you, or does it excite you?
No, I'm an engineer by heart, so I love what's happening. But as I said, this Black Mirror view on things is really also part of me, I would say. You see the potential, if you just embrace it without any guardrails, just trusting that it will probably be all right, then I think you're in for a very troublesome future. But if you, the combination of working with the machine and trusting it while checking it is, it's something nobody has done before. So we need to get used to it. Yeah.
definitely. We're out of time, but you've raised some very interesting thoughts and perspectives today that I'm sure a lot of people will be talking about, and this will be discussed in many a panel to come today. But thank you very much, Sebastiaan. Give him a round of applause.
All right. Thanks.